Okay, we have to finish with the obligatory final remarks for the end of the semester. So, I told you on the first day that you were not going to be Bruce Lee when you left this class, and certainly that should be a little more apparent now. Although, uh, obviously, the class kind of took a twist, an unexpected turn at the end of the semester, but even before that, I suspect you will agree that we cover a lot more material than probably, again, most people expect us to cover. So, if you recall, at the beginning of the semester, I gave you an illustration, and my numbers were arbitrary then, and they still are now. But if you recall, I said when you walked in, maybe you had, I don't know, a 28% chance of defending yourself, and now you have maybe a 53% chance or something like that. Again, my numbers are arbitrary, right? But the idea is now, as I said, a lot of you would probably agree that there's a big difference between that metaphorical 28 and 53%. So we covered a lot of stuff, but the question now is, what are you going to do with that 53%? So hopefully we're having a good time, or we enjoyed the class up to this point. And, I do appreciate the fact a lot of you could have taken, bowling or basketball or some other class like that. You guys did step out of your comfort zone and out of your wheelhouse to do something that was a little more foreign. I would argue that's a lot of what college is about, is broadening your horizons in that regard. But still, I do appreciate the fact that you were willing to step out and take something like this. So thank you for that. But basically, like I said, what are we going to do now that, say, 53%? So I say this to all my classes, but I genuinely believe it to be true that it does not get any easier to do martial arts than at the collegiate setting, and more specifically here at Indiana University, which is one of the top 2 or 3 martial arts programs in the entire country, especially in terms of just breadth and depth of offerings that we give you. So you truly have an embarrassment of riches of stuff to do, right? So I highly recommend my self-defense courses go into the Hapkido program. That is a lot of carryover, but then it also gives us a longer term avenue of study. That's why you kind of got the Hapkido uniform. Conversely, I know a lot of people in my Hapkido course this semester actually have already done self-defense. I would encourage you to keep going on the Hapkido course, either through obviously the classes or club or some way to do that. But basically, you guys, as I said, it does not get any easier to do martial arts and or self-defense than at the collegiate setting. You have more leisure time now than at any other period in your life. And you are, in theory, in the primes of your lives, intellectually and physically, in theory. And so you're in that student mode. That's why we go in a pretty accelerated pace and everything as we do it. And then, quite honestly, it is cheaper and more convenient than it will be at any other time in your life. Martial arts clubs here run between $40-50 a semester. The national average is around $130 per month in most commercial schools. Mine's cheaper than that, but is pushing $90 for 1 month. And again, you get a whole semester for $40 or $50. It does not get any easier. So if this is something that you are even remotely interested in getting more of, or getting that number higher, then do it now. Take advantage of it while you have the opportunity. Okay. A couple of comments, a little more geared towards the self-defense class, but applies to everybody. At the beginning of if I gave you a pop quiz, if I were to see you and gave you a pop quiz on, say, some of the situationals or some of the things we did earlier in the semester, I suspect that it probably wouldn't go exactly as scripted and as we practiced it. And that used to be a source of consternation for me, although I've really kind of softened my response on that. So, basically there's an adage in the martial arts that and self-defense that we throw out there a lot, but there's a lot of truth into it, and that fighting is, pick your number, 10-15% technique and 85-90% spirit. And as long as you decide that you're worth fighting for and you're going to fight until 10 seconds after you're dead, then things usually work out okay. And so, one of the things that we have been trying to instill, we talk about that mindsetting a lot. We talk about the concepts, the attitudes, as I said, the mindsetting that goes along with having a proactive self-defense approach to life. And, that's something else that we can continue to practice as much as the physical stuff. But as long as, like I said, hopefully you have that attitude, as long as you take that mental approach to things, it doesn't have to always go pretty as far as how we choreographed it and everything else. Obviously, I'd like you to do both. And like I said, there's ways to keep practicing in Aikido or other ways to certainly get things to go a little bit smoother. But like I said, I hope when that we are able to come back onto campus, maybe I see you in another one of the self-defense classes or Aikido classes, or if you want to more work on the ground, there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The objective of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is more from a sports standpoint, or to stay on the ground and finish, not to get up and escape, but it's still teaching us how to move. There are classes that deal more striking. There's classes that deal the stick fighting or the Filipino martial arts classes get us more familiar with weapons. So there's a million other ways to take, or different avenues to take, depending on what we're interested in within the martial arts. And certainly you can ask questions if you have any questions about that. By all means, please reach out to me. For example, one of the self-defense classes, you guys didn't get to really do a drill I really like to show to do. One semester had one girl who just was tearing everybody up with that drill. So, you could just tell she loved it. And I'm like, you have got to do judo. Right? That is absolutely, what's up your alley based on what you're doing in this class and everything else. And again, she really enjoyed doing judo. So, like I said, I by all means can give you some more guidance and particulars if you're interested. But like I said, hopefully I see you around in another class. If not, have a nice life. But thanks for working hard this semester in here. Obviously, it did not finish exactly the way that most semesters do, but I look at that as a great learning opportunity as well. In that, and I've said this to my commercial school as well, martial arts, as a lot of things in life, is about being able to adapt, right? That we have the water principle, or there are actually concepts or again, metaphors in the martial arts to talk about the ability to adapt strategy, to adapt tactics to the situation as given, right? If that's life, right? If we don't keep changing, then we become a rotary phone. And so that is, the martial arts and fighting is, in some ways the techniques don't change that much, but in some ways they do. And that, we don't fight with muskets anymore, right? Technology improves, and so we have to keep adapting. We have to keep changing our tactics to different situations. So we had to make do as given the circumstances of this semester, but keeping a strong mind, finding a way to adapt and overcome, that is a martial arts, that is a self-defense mindset as well. So your last attendance, hopefully you're still listening to this, to receive attendance for this week, you have to send me a message and basically tell me how you have adapted and overcome during this situation. I know some of you are dealing with some other hardships, or things have compounded since you've gotten home beyond just the semester. And I know some of you have reached out to me, and I suspect there's other things I am not aware of. And so I wish you the best of luck. But find how are you adapting to succeed. So, for example, my reading quota I've definitely got a head start for the entire year there. I started doing a research project that I've always been saying I wish I had more time to do. So last week I started putting out some emails on the survey portion of that, and hopefully I can get a bit of a informal study and article written and again, something that I've been saying if I had enough time to do, I'd like to do. So that's what I started doing with a little bit of my extra downtime when I'm not on campus, right? So I hope you're finding new ways to succeed. If you want credit for attendance, you send me a message explaining what it is that you're doing to adapt and overcome, and then you will get in this announcement, you will get the other details in terms of how to finish up your grading and grades, your final, and other options as we wrap up the course. Good luck on finals, stay safe, and like I said, hope to see you again. If not, have a nice life.